One of the things I like to do in preparation for this podcast, and my preparation is rather limited, quite frankly. When I read something interesting in a new case, encounter something in a consultation, encounter something in the courthouse while I'm litigating, it sparks and triggers an idea for the podcast in the next episode or series of episodes. One of the things I like to do on a long term basis is explore in my mind in society, on television, socially, culturally, historically, statistically. I like to explore universal truths. What do I mean? What causes divorce? What makes somebody say, I never want to see this person again? I never want to be romantically involved with them again. I do not want to co parent with them ever again. What brings somebody to the edge of the proverbial relationship abyss? Perhaps there are millions of reasons. And maybe as a lawyer, I should know the old expression case by case basis. Take every individual relationship separately and individually for what it is, and also for what it back on target. Why do people break up? And what makes somebody feel as though their shared history of 10, 20, 30 years is somehow easily abandoned? I'm going to submit to you that it is not. That generally in a relationship, one person wants that divorce. The other person wants to avoid that divorce at any and all costs. So, if we're talking about getting a divorce, if we're talking about a circumstance where one person is eager and ready to leave the relationship, well, let's consider one of the consequences that may be unintended. Aside from the emotional hurt, aside from the agony of being alone and all of that, let's consider something that not everybody is prepared to talk about. Men and women, when they are married, have a shared history. Granted, that may be an ugly history, and that history may have involved something like domestic abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, all sorts of terrible things. Nevertheless, a shared history. My wife knows where the bodies are buried. My wife knows what makes me tick. She knows what I said 15 years ago. She knows what I said yesterday. Of course, there's the old joke that women might not be able to remember anything, but they will remember what you argued about on January the 4th, 1997. And that may be a gender specific thing, I will grant you. Hopefully, some of you find that humorous more so than macabre and agonizing. In any event, I know what she has been through in her life. I was there when our kids were born. I know what it's like for her to breastfeed, for her to be tired, for her to struggle in her life. I know what her family relationships are like. I know even her more, as disgusting as that may sound, folks. I know everything about her that I could possibly know. I'm sure that she keeps some things a secret. I'm sure that everybody does. But she knows about me. She knows when I tend to use the restroom. She knows the struggles I've had. She knows my career changes. She knows my finances. She knows my opinions on just about everything because everybody knows my opinions on just about everything. I'm an opinionated dude. There's nothing that I can do about that, and that is not about to stop. So she knows just about everything about me. Isn't there some degree of comfort in that? Isn't it nice to know that somebody knows almost everything about you and that there's no element of shock and awe and surprise? I'm not in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt that I'm hiding from her. There are no secret relationships. She knows me back and forth transparently. And I like that. I take comfort in that. Don't other people take comfort in that? Isn't it nice to know that when your parents were still alive, that your wife or your husband knew them and had a good relationship with them, and you could talk about that and you can reminisce and you can have that shared experience? Is it really so great to throw away everything you've built? I mean, I don't really see the purpose and the destructiveness of that. Somebody commented online on one of my TikTok videos, aren't you supposed to be encouraging divorce because you're a divorce attorney? What are you doing trying to save people's relationships? What are you, stupid? Quite the contrary, I would like to think. And folks, not that it matters, and I'm not bragging, but so when they call me stupid and when somebody does, I harken back to the fact that I've been a professor. I've taught 26 different classes and I have 26 years of education. I certainly hope that I'm not stupid or ignorant in any way, shape, or form. I hope not whatsoever. But I, maybe in a business sense, not encouraging people to get a divorce, maybe that's not the best approach. But I also have a heart and I also understand that when people are going through it and they're up against it, they may make hasty and rash decisions that aren't based on all the facts, and those decisions may be rushed. I would like to think that most relationships are worth saving, and if they are worth saving, then try. And sometimes it's embarrassing to try. Sometimes putting your heart in your sleeve and laying it all on the line can be almost as bad as having to deal with that divorce itself and going through the process of it. So what I'm suggesting is if you and your spouse have a shared history, you have memories together, and many of them are good, well, maybe there's something that you can think about as far as saving your relationship. Maybe one person refuses to let it be saved, and sure, fine. Okay. I get it. I understand it. We can't control everybody else's behavior. We can only control our own. But if we can control our own behavior and that relationship is worth saving, well, go try to save it and don't regret trying to save it, even if it doesn't work out. Because if you treasure that relationship and you value that relationship and you have a shared history together, there's something meaningful about that.